Kolby, I wanted to ask you, in terms of where you've tried to improve your game during this offseason through training camp here, what have been one or two or three things that you tried to focus on?
I would say the main thing I'm trying to focus on this year is my defensive footwork so that we can play two bigs on the floor this year. Um, it's such a big mismatch on both ends of the floor when you can have a lot of length and size. And so I've really tried to put in a lot of time with Shork and by myself, just doing a lot of defensive footwork so that I can guard the four, guard, you know, smaller guys so that we can switch that position. We're working on that a lot in practice. Just we'll do different ball screen coverages and then we'll switch it. So being able to do that is just so hard for other teams to scout our defense and it makes us all versatile. So that's probably the biggest thing I would say is defense. As Pope loves defense, you guys know that. So that's probably the biggest thing. And then offensively, working on left hand a little bit more and just being more comfortable with that.
All right, let's take a question from Sean Walker, Jeff Call, and Mitch Harper.
Yeah, Cole, believe it or not, and I'm having a hard time believing this, I can only imagine kind of how you guys feel getting to play this schedule. But we're less than a week away from opening night. How excited are you guys to finally hit somebody else and play somebody else? Are you kind of to that point in training camp where you're like, I just want to play somebody, whoever it is?
Yes, put someone in front of us and let's go. We're so pumped. We've been doing two-a-days for about 5 weeks, so we're super our legs feel great because practice is starting to get a little bit less tight and different things. But, man, we've been playing and battling against each other every single day, twice a day. So we're ready to hit somebody else and go make a statement and go have some fun, man. We can't wait to play some ball against somebody else. Yes, we're super excited.
So, Kolby, you guys obviously had the NCAA tournament canceled, weren't able to play. As you head into this season, is there a little bit of anxiousness or nervousness about what things could happen just with the spread of the virus and everything, or how do you view that as you go into the season?
I think Pope tells us every day to focus on the now. We can't control what happens in the future. We can't control what happened last year. I mean, it was unfortunate and everyone's bummed about it. We all feel like we could have made a run, yes, but we can't control it, right? So we focus on every day at a time, trying to get better every single day. That's our motto. So when we do that, the rest will take care of itself. So we're not too worried. We're just going to, take one day at a time, one game at a time. And we look at every game is, the hardest of the season. So no matter who we play, the next game is, the biggest challenge in front of us that we've had all year. So.
Hey, Kolby, what do you guys gain from playing, competing in two-a-days? Because I was talking with Matt Harms last week, and he said at Purdue they didn't do that. Where do you think you guys build or gain as a team in these two-a-day practice settings?
So because it's like a full-time job, man. We wake up at the start of 2 days. We wake up around 4:30 and get here. Got to be here around 5:30. That's when the first week that starts, and then we're not leaving the gym until 5. So it's a full day's work. So you build a lot of chemistry. We have a lot of laughs, but we have a lot of blood, sweat, and tears because you're just grinding every single day. So your body's tired, your mind's tired, and it's just an absolute grind. So you come together as a team, and you build a lot of lifetime friendships that you'll never be able to lose just because you go to battle every single day with these dudes, and you build a love that you'll never get back. Sorry, Connor's messing with me back behind the camera, but so you build a love that you just can't, it's undescribable. So when you go through these 2 days, and especially how long we went, all these other teams, they don't usually do that. It's kind of old school, right? So 2 days isn't, something that every team does, and so it makes us tougher so that when we go into that tough stretch when we got, Boise State, San Diego State, USC, UConn, all those teams back to back to back, that we're built for this. We did this 5 weeks in a row. Like, we're chilling. Like, we're good. We've been through the ringer already. This is nothing. So it kind of gives us that mental edge as well to know that when we're going into battle, like, we're good. We've done harder things.
And for you personally, what have you had to sacrifice, navigating this pandemic to ensure that you're going to be able to play when the season starts? Could you speak to that?
Good question. What have I had to sacrifice? I feel like I've had to sacrifice my body with these 2-a-days. Body's sore, but the tournament, that was one thing. And then I would say, me personally, my wedding got postponed, so that was kind of a bummer. And then I would say there was an earlier question about the fear of the unknown. We always try and put it in the back of our mind, but there still is a little bit of fear of, hopefully our next game doesn't get canceled. This may happen. So that there's little things like that where you are a little bit worried, but you got to focus on it here and now.
Do you have a new wedding date set with Caleb?
So we did get married. We got married, but it got postponed because I actually got corona. So my date was August. It was like August 1st, and then it got postponed 2 weeks or whatever. So we got married right after that. So we've been married for about 4 months.
All right, let's take a question from Jacob Hatch.
Yeah, building off that a little bit, Kolby, you've played college hoops as a single man, and now you're a married man. What's the biggest difference to navigating it all? I know that your wife plays hoops. I know she's an athlete herself, but what's the biggest difference being a married athlete?
I would say the biggest difference is instead of going home alone, you got someone to go home to, regardless if you play great or you had a bad game. So regardless of how I play, she's going to love me. So that's always a positive. So you don't got to worry. Well, sometimes you never know if I'm in the doghouse or not. But if I'm, if I get to go home, even if I play great, she's always going to be there. She's always going to keep me humble too, which is good. And then if I, had a bad game, she's going to cheer me up. So that's probably the biggest difference.
All right, let's take a last question from Norma Gonzalez.
Hey, Kolb. So you mentioned that you had coronavirus back in August. Can you kind of just tell us a little bit about your ordeal with it?
Yes. So I basically had a cold. I didn't really realize I had it. Then I tested, and it came up positive. I felt great. But obviously I had to isolate for 2 weeks. I had a stuffy nose. The worst symptom was I had chills and a fever for an hour. And then it went away. And then I even got my lungs back pretty fast. I basically just had a stuffy nose, kind of runny nose for, the 2 weeks. But that was about it. I didn't even have a cough. I never lost my taste. That was like the only symptom I really had. And I felt good. So I was very fortunate and very blessed to not, you hear some of these other people that, people are dying, people are getting really sick, they have to be in the hospital. Luckily, us athletes were in better position because we're healthier, but, it's still scary and still dangerous, but I was very lucky.
And because you've already kind of been through it, what have you learned from that process, or how do you view the pandemic now?
I definitely view the pandemic like it is serious. At first I was like, it's kind of a joke, you never know. Like, you hear different things, and then once our whole team kind of ran through our whole team, we're like, oh, okay, this is the real deal. And then once, a lot of like football teams were shutting down and different things, and they canceled our tournament, it was like, oh man, like, are they just, going overboard with this, or is this a real deal? And then once you get it, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's a real thing. So. But now we're obviously, we don't want anything like setbacks, so we're all masked up everywhere we go, unless we're on the court. So we're all super serious about this. We try and take hand sanitizer with us everywhere, wear our masks, just try and stay on top of this so that it'd be a big hit for any of us to go out this season and have to miss 2 weeks because our games are back to back to back. So anytime someone gets sick, it gives risk to someone else on the team getting sick, and then it just hurts our because we're so deep this year. It just hurts rotations. It hurts, different things. You guys are aware of that, but it's a real deal.
All right, I think that's it. Thanks for joining us, Kolby.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.